Yeah, I was made to win. I had to pick up the pieces to the puzzle and put it back again. Yeah, I was made to win. They tried to push me out, nah, dawg, man, I'm coming in. Yeah, I was made to win.
You ready?
I'm shooting them baskets you could never.
Welcome to another episode of Preacher Curl Divine Strength Training. I am your coach, your friend, Marvin Keon. And today, we're going to be talking about why I believe everybody needs to lift. And I'm not just talking about in the gym, although you do need to lift in the gym, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So today's episode, we're going to break down the lift pillars. What are the lift pillars? Well, let me explain where lift comes from. So when I decided that I was going to get into personal training and wellness coaching, I wanted to have a brand. I didn't want to be just Marvin Fitness or Marvin Keon Fitness or whatever. I wanted the brand to be separate from me. I wanted it to have purpose. I wanted it to be something that the people who were a part of the brand could latch on to that something they can believe in, something that they can take with them at any point beyond them training, doing any variation of training with me. So I remember I was actually sitting in a Chick-fil-A and I just had a napkin there and I'm just writing down different names and I'm jotting down different, no, add this, no, that, and so I kept asking myself, what is it I want people to do? What do I feel like they need to do? What happened for me? What did God do for me? And I've told this story before, but when I decided to get in fitness, I was in a really, really dark space in my life and just was wanting to find a way to be comfortable being so uncomfortable. So my life just felt really uncomfortable. It felt like, and I was aware enough to know that it wasn't a change that was going to happen overnight. I knew that the pain that I was feeling, the worry that I was feeling, that feeling of loneliness, I knew all those things weren't. I wasn't just going to wake up tomorrow and feel great. So I didn't even ask for that. I was like, all right, what I'm going to ask for is the ability to be inside of it and be able to be strong, to where it couldn't control me. I wanted to have more control of it. So I know for me, it began when I got in the gym and started lifting. And I went in there under no conception that experience would be would have such an impression on me that I would end up in a spot like I am today. And what I mean by that is, I just wanted to feel better. I wanted to find something that was, because let me be completely honest. I didn't know nobody here. I didn't have a friend group. I didn't really know the area well. So I would just kind of go out to different bars. I go to different restaurants. I would do that thing, trying to meet people, trying to find something to get into, or be a part of. But I'm spending a bunch of money and it just not happening. So I remember I was like, well, where can I go where it's not going to be overly expensive, that I can meet people, that I will kind of organically meet people, and that has some idea, some hint of productivity. And I'm like, kind of thinking, is anything like that exists? I could go to the gym. So, and again, I had been an athlete, but I hadn't been I was never one of those, I'm just going to go to the gym to go work out. When the way I perceived working out in fitness at that time in my life was you did it because of athletics. And at this point, I didn't play football anymore. So why would I go and work out? Right. But at this point, I need to feel better about my life. I needed something to do. I'm in this new area. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the gym. And I went to the gym, and that experience of showing up every day, watching my own life begin to change before my own eyes. I was watching my body change. I was watching my mindset change. I was watching some of the habits that I have start to dissipate, and then new habits started to come in. My food selection started to change. Instead of having a Louisiana chicken pasta, I decided to eat a kale salad. That's a big deal. Because if you've ever had a Louisiana chicken pasta from a Cheesecake Factory, it is delicious. It is phenomenal. Probably not the best thing for you, but it is amazing. And so eating that on a consistent basis and, also having a piece of cheesecake and some cucumber lemonade, like, I can't even believe like that was a point of my life, but that's who I was. But again, I had finally realized I came to a point where I was like, this has to stop. I have to start making different decisions, especially because I had the access. And that's the thing. Like a lot of times we'll have the access, we'll have the ability to do certain things. We'll have the ability to go to the gym. We'll have the access to a meal plan. We'll have the access to the food. We'll have the access to all the things, to the keys, to the ingredients, to the thing that we need to make us better. But we don't choose it. That inaction, again, inaction is still action. So those moments of me choosing not to do it are still compounding. So anyway, so I'm sitting there, I'm having like this revelation in Chick-fil-A and knowing that it was God choosing to show me how to lift that was lifting my life at that point, right? But again, like just, if you know me, it had to be deeper than that. Like that wasn't, but the lift had to mean something. It couldn't just be lifting weights because I would tell people, because at this point, I'm feeling myself now. Like, I put the little side by side pictures by each other, and I got my before and after on Instagram. I had a Camaro at the time, so I'm like posted up beside my Camaro. I got like a 6-pack. Like, boy was feeling himself. But I knew still like this thing had to be a little bit deeper. Like it couldn't just be that, because what I was most proud of, what I was most excited about was the shift that my mindset had taken. Cause I would respond to people, even when they would tell me, bro, you're looking great. I love what you're doing. I see you out there in Texas. I'm getting all of that. But man, I was like, man, yes, but I wish you could see this mental physique that I have changed. Like the way I feel about myself, the conversations I have with myself, the way I conversate with other people, like the things that I believe in now, the standards and the habits that I have created. Those are the things I'm most proud of. My body just ended up being a byproduct of all of those things. And it helped that I had played ball. It helped that I still have some muscle memory, but it had more to do with the things that I was willing to accept. So what I came up with that day in Chick-fil-A is I believe that there are 4 things that you can do for the rest of your life, starting today, that could change your life for forever. And those things are learning, investing, focusing, and training. We're going to jump into those real quick, one at a time. We're going to go through them. And by the end of this podcast, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to change your life, whether it be health, whether it be your relationships, whatever it is you want to do, starting a business. These 4 things will do that thing for you. All right, so let's hop into it. So, learning, the first pillar. All right, I'm at that point in my life where I got to put on glasses to like read, so don't judge me. Got to do what I got to do. All right, so the first pillar of lift is learn. So learning is foundational to any transformation, whether it's learning about proper nutrition, the right way to lift weights, or even how to strengthen your spirit. The pursuit of knowledge is key. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 4:7, the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. Another version I read on the Bible app, it's the easy version. And like, listen, don't knock the easy version. Like if you can't do all the big work, I get it. Put on the easy version. It helps reading the Bible so much easier. So try that. The easy version says, learn to be wise, because wisdom is the most important thing to have. Make sure that you learn to understand things well. Make sure that you learn to understand things well. This verse is powerful because it emphasizes that wisdom and knowledge are not just gifts, they're to be sought after with intention. We are given an opportunity on a daily basis to learn something different. I think the worst thing that we can do is get into a space in our life where we feel like we have retained enough information that there's nothing else that we can know. And I feel like, especially as adults, I don't know at what point it is, we cross almost like this threshold of adultism where the idea of imagination, where the idea of belief, where the idea of that you're capable of doing certain things, like literally go out of the window. And what's even more sad, I feel like, is that we will state that they're there because we will talk about the faith that we have, and whether it be from a religious aspect, whether it be from just a holistic standpoint of faith, of believing in the divine and what the divine can do and the power, but we don't allow our lives to manifest in the sense that I believe the divine wants it to manifest, in just the sense of us continuing to reproduce. And not just, I say reproduce, I don't mean like just having a bunch of kids. I mean like the sole purpose of God creating us was because God is a natural creator. God loves to create. Like from the beginning of time, like the very first thing we understood and learned about God is that he enjoyed creating. And creation takes learning, because it's hard to create anything for the first time and have learned all the different aspects of it. And that's one of the most important things as it pertains to learning. Like, I think what we've done is we don't properly understand how to define learning. Because I think what we do is we define learning as an aspect of knowing one thing or having knowledge of one thing. And so a lot of times we think that we only have knowledge of, only have heard of, only have maybe experienced once or twice. We will come to a space that feel like we've learned it. I spent X amount of years in elementary, middle, and high school, and there's a lot of things that I learned I do not remember. Like, please don't ask me to do like the Pythagorean theorem or any of that. Like, not happening. Like, I don't remember though. I didn't learn those things. I remembered them at the time because they were necessary for me to get a good grade on my test, but I didn't actually learn them because I never actually mastered them. Because when you master something, when something comes to you effortlessly, when something is something that you do without having to put so much conscious thought in, then you have at that point now learned it. And we've gotten to a state that we're so afraid of change. We're so afraid of failure. We're so afraid of not being able to get things right the first time that we want to allow ourselves the beauty and the opportunity to experience what is the learning, like the phenomenon. Like, and the thing about it is, learning is the tool. It is the vehicle that we've used since childbirth. Since the moment we came into this world, we learned. Like, there are things like tying our shoe, how to do our hair, how to drive. Like, there are things we do so that we've mastered and it's because we just continue to take action on those things that at a certain point we mastered it and we can do it and we don't even think about it. That can be anything in your life. That's the thing that I remember. I was talking to somebody one time and they said something to the degree like, you fit people, almost as if fit people are like a different race or something. Like, you got black people, white people, these people, and then fit people. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. All a fit person is somebody who chose to take a lot of action inside this aspect of their life. All anybody is somebody who chose to take a lot of repetition and intention and decided to master certain aspects of their life. What I'm saying is, then, if that's all that is, then there are certain elements of our life, our health, especially our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, that should always and forever be in a state of learning, because we're always in different facets of our life. We go from children, we go from babies to toddlers to children, to adolescents, to teens, to preteens, to young adults, to adults. And because of those we have different bodies, we have different things happening in our life. We're working now. We may have children. We may have grandchildren. So there are things we have to continue to learn in our bodies, in our mind, in our spirit. And we have to always have that willingness to do that, because it's our responsibility. Not even because this is not a want to thing. This is something that we have to be doing. So, learning is mastery. Learning is mastery. If you don't remember anything I said today, remember that to learn is to master. Napoleon Hill talks about the importance of having specialized knowledge. You can't just know a little about everything. You need to go deep in what's important to you. Learning leads to mastery. So, point number 2, invest. What does it mean to invest? You invest time, energy, and resources into what you believe in, whether it's your health, relationship, or faith, what you invest in will grow. In Galatians 6:7, Paul writes, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaped what he sows. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. I think it's funny because we all know that second part, that a man reap what he sows, but a lot of times we're not familiar with that. God cannot be mocked. I think that is probably, honestly, the most important part of that particular verse, in the sense that what I believe that God's trying to get across to us in that message is that God cannot be mocked. And then he follow up and says, a man reap what he sows. So I think a lot of times what we think is that we cannot take action. We cannot put in the investment that we are aware of that we need, that is necessary for us, that's necessary for our family, that's necessary for our advancement. And we're okay with making an excuse for it. We're okay with finding a way to get out of it. It's never the right, never the right time. It's never, you don't have the money. You don't have you're not in a good mental space. You're not in a good physical space. I always think it's funny when you're talking to somebody and they say, well, let me lose about 10 pounds, and then I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna come get in the gym once I lose about 10. And I'm like, but the whole point of getting you to lose to lose the first 10, you need to be in the, if you haven't taken action to lose those 10, what makes you think that whatever you've been doing will continue to work? Remember, inaction compounds. So I think what we do is we allow, we will talk ourselves out of things. We'll find ways to get out of it. And God cannot be mocked. God cannot be mocked in the sense that you may be able to fool me and tell me, well, I've been doing this and I've been doing that. I fell into that a bad habit of that as an entrepreneur at a certain point, because it's like I felt better talking about the things I was doing to people. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing that. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing that. But I wasn't reaping anything from that, because the only thing that I was sowing was telling people about the things that I wanted to do and should have been doing. God cannot be mocked. So God's not going to allow me to have the benefits of the things that I was talking about just because I was talking about them. And we think just the investment of the idea of it, the investment of the want to of it, the investment of the desire of it is good enough. It's not even close. We have to be okay giving something up. There has to be that idea of sacrifice has to be accepted, has to be wanted, and we have to come to the realization that it's going to be, that it probably will make you uncomfortable, but that's the beauty of it. The opportunity for you to go through trial is just, that's why I love the gym. That's why I love the opportunity, because what it explains is the opportunity to have resistance come against you. That's what the gym is built around that. The more I can control resistance, the more I can be, the more resistance I go through, the more volume, the more sets, the more days that I show up. The resistance doesn't get easier, but my investment of my energy, my investment of my time, my investment of willing to struggle in that moment will compound, and I don't have a choice but to get stronger. So, gotta make sure we're making the right investments. All right, let's move on. Focus. We live in a world full of distractions. Phones, social media, endless tasks, name it. If we aren't intentional, our focus gets pulled in 1,000 directions, leaving us scattered and weak. In Philippians 3:13-14 tells us, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me. And I find this so fascinating because this is in the Bible. This is before any other stuff that we have. We have so many distractions now. It's almost like you can't even really be fully mad at nobody, because it's cause you got your distractions too. So I can't just be coming down on you and looking at you in a certain type of way because you have your distractions, because all of us have fallen short and all of us have distractions. And so it's not right for me to look at your distraction and say, man, well, I can't believe you distracted by that, because you could also look at me and say, man, you have a distraction, you're distracted by that. But what we have to realize is that even back then, even back in the Bible, even back when Paul was writing this, Paul was having distractions. And I'm like, what is there to distract you like then? Like a goat? I don't know, some animals, some of the other disciples. There's like his opportunity to be distracted and our opportunity to be distracted. I would think it would be much easier for him than it would be for us. But even him in this time where I believe that there's more stillness, I believe that it's quieter, I believe that he has an opportunity to really tap in more to God, because there isn't so much technology and so much, so many things that will take away from him. He still knows that he has to keep his vision tight. He still knows that he has to know what it is that he's been called to do, and without whatever happening, without, something that's happened going on at home, without, how he feels like sometimes, like when he doesn't feel like it, when it rains, like it's so many like opportunities on a daily basis for us to like lose distraction. That's why it's so important to be on the other side of that and just constantly be trying to tap into a state of focus and awareness. Like, that's why I love meditation. I think meditation and prayer, I think, is essential just for the physiological opportunity to sit still. Just for the opportunity to sit in one space and focus on doing nothing. Just focus on being. Like, we have inability to be nowadays. We have become human doings. We got to do this and do that and do this and do that. But we have to get back to a space that we can be even in the chaos of life, like be so focused and be so purposeful with our words, with our tasks, with our energy. And that's why our health is so important, because our health is a part of our energy. So it's a part of the thing that allows us to emit the feelings and the emotions that we're going to put out in the world, that we're going to put out in our job, that we're going to put out into our children. So we don't have any idea what we're focusing on. Again, I can never stop saying this enough. Inaction is still action. So even our lack of focus is a lack of compounding. So if I'm not focused, if I don't know what's going on, then I'm leaving myself susceptible for anything to come in and to distract me. And if I have the exercise, if I've exercised the state of going and letting that thing take me, and I just go with it, then guess what? I'm going to be really good at letting that thing take me and me just going with it. So remember to focus. And As a Man Thinketh, James Allen, if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you read. Short read, but profound read. James Allen reminds us that our thoughts are the seeds that we plant in the garden of our life. We are constantly investing in the future by the thoughts and actions that we plant today. The things that we're focusing on today, the things that we continue to show up for today, will be the things that will dictate what tomorrow, our future, and then the future of those around us will inevitably look like. All right, and last but not least, we have to train. And I think, of all of these, well, my notes is doing something weird. Reload. My notes disappeared on me. I don't know what happened. If I don't pull it up, then we're just gonna go without it. I really wanted to read that verse though. That's that's my. All right. So what I'll do is I'll include the verse that was affiliated with training in the comment section. But the last one is training. And all training is volume, is repetition. And, you would think to a certain degree that would be the easiest of the four. At least maybe I would think that. But unfortunately, what the world, what society, the state that we're in has shown us is that we have such an issue with training, because training requires consistency. Consistency requires showing up. Showing up requires some level of inconvenience. Some level of inconvenience requires us giving up something that is comfortable for us, and something that's comfortable for us is a state that we've allowed ourselves to be in for so long that anything outside of that state is uncomfortable to us, and we're at a space that we're okay with that. And again, I'm going to say it again. Inaction is still action. So when we are choosing to not go to to not go to the gym that day, we're choosing not to choose positive self-talk, when we're choosing not to practice the meditation, when we're choosing not to pour into that business, or even start the business, or start the podcast, or when we're not willing to just show up and put up a shot, then what is guaranteed for you at that point is that there is no chance. There is no opportunity. And I think that is, that's the most unfortunate thing about the state that we're in as a culture and as people, because, we got so many issues as a country. The how we feed ourselves, obviously our health, the lack of the willingness to be active, how fitness has become more of it's almost like its own religion. It's like, do you choose to worship fitness? Do you choose to be a part of that group? And it's like, how did us taking care of the temple in which God gave us to orchestrate this life and to experience this life and to do the things and to just to use more in a state of we're borrowing this thing that he's given us to have this experience on earth? Because the one stat that is 100% for all of us is that we will die. There will be a point where we won't be here any day. And it's unfortunate that whenever that moment happens, it will happen, and we don't know when it'll happen. It is unfortunate that a lot of us will live a life so restricted, so small, so scared of just the opportunity, or not just the opportunity, but just from something that could have been changed by us just showing up, by us just putting in a little volume, by us, if I were to slide, if I were to lose $1, I probably wouldn't overreact too much. I probably wouldn't just be totally bent out of shape. I don't like to lose any money, so I'm not gonna be happy about it. But I'm not gonna freak out about it. But if I were to lose $365, I'm gonna be really hot, because that's groceries. That's something I can get fixed on my car. That can go towards a bill. That can be some new clothes or some new shoes. That could be something I could, spend on my business. That could be, a lot of different ways I could use $365. So as compared to $8. So what's the point? What point are you making? The point I'm making that if there's 365 days in a year, and every day you're cashing in a day of not believing in yourself, not willing to put forth one repetition, not willing to put forth any action towards that thing that you need to be doing, whether it's not even your health. Maybe you got your health figured out, but you need a better relationship with God. Then start by reading a verse a day. Start by reading a devotional a day. Start by praying once a day. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you spend a lot of time in prayer. You spend a lot of time in meditation, but you feel like you're overweight, or you feel like you let your body go. You've been drinking too much, or you've been doing the thing. Okay, let's spend a day not doing that thing. Let's spend one day meal prepping. Let's spend one day going to the gym. So if you're somebody who deals with a lot of self-esteem issues, if you wake up feeling not good about yourself or who you are, then one day only choose to say good things about yourself. Choose to read something positive. Choose to only put yourself in positive situations. Choose to let go of some of the people around you that are low frequency people that are spewing a lot of negativity and words. And, oh, you don't need to go do this. You don't need to do that. You're not gonna succeed if you do that. Then learn that if you don't put in any action, if you're not making a deposit, then those days are going to pass regardless. Those days are going to pass regardless. And at the end of the year, you can say, man, you know what? I lost $1. Maybe I lost a couple dollars, but I didn't lose all my dollars. I'm not broke because I just wouldn't show up. So learn, invest, focus, train. If you do those things, you can be successful in the gym. You can be successful in your relationships. You can be successful in business. You can be successful in any aspect of your life. If you get to a point in any situation where you don't know what to do, how to fix it, where to start, all right, I know I have this issue. I know I have this problem. What can I do to fix it? Start by learning about it, then invest in it, focus on it, train, give it a lot of volume. And I promise you, your life will be completely different. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, don't be good, be great. See you guys next time. Peace.